Hello, my friends. Looking for an ideal pot to plant tomatoes, peppers, and other vine vegetables? If you are thinking of having your own vegetable garden in your backyard, you are probably worried about the lack of space. In this case, don't worry. You can use small space if you plant your vegetables in pots. Welcome to your YouTube channel. Remember, you are the original of yourself. There is no duplicate of you anywhere in the world. Today, we are going to see ideal planters to plant your tomatoes and peppers. First, I would like to give some important tips or recommendations. Planting vegetables in your garden using appropriate pots is important, but it's not the only thing. First of all, don't plant your vegetables in pots without first getting a good potting substrate. Potted plants require good substrates. Visit a garden or nursery store and ask for a quality substrate. I have also read on different blogs the recommendation to create a compound or mixture to fill your pots: 50% substrate and 50% compost. The disadvantage of using common soil is that it hardens and dries quickly, while the substrate stores water by staying moist. A good substrate should be light, porous, nutritious, should maximize drainage, and be stable so that the roots develop freely. When it's time to choose the right pot for growing tomatoes, for example, you need to choose a heavy pot. Why? Because light pots don't provide stability, and when the wind hits, your plant will be tossed to the ground. If you don't want to have to pick your plant from the floor at all times, choose a heavy and stable pot. If you don't get heavy pots to prevent them from constantly falling on the floor, you can get a large drawer where you can put several pots and thus avoid being blown by the wind or other external factors. However, in case due to contextual reasons you need to periodically move the pots where you grow your larger veggies, avoid using heavy pots. In this case, it is better to use plastic pots that you can move without much effort. Another tip: do not use pots less than 20 centimeters deep. This is so that the roots have enough spreading space. Also, small pots don't work for crops like tomatoes or peppers, and you will need to water them more frequently. A large pot will need watering twice a week at least, while small pots may require watering every day. By the way, what about the drain in the pots? For proper drainage, the pots must have holes. Since we are going to grow potted tomatoes and peppers, we need large pots. A large pot should have 2 to 4 drain holes. Why the drain? Drainage is necessary because if the water accumulates in the pot, the roots will rot, and fungi or bacteria will easily thrive, ruining your crop. Pot size is an important issue when it comes to the crop you want to plant. For example, in a 15-liter pot, you can perfectly plant bush cherry tomato crops, even garlic or even cabbage if you so desire. A 30-liter pot is perfect for planting bell peppers and any tomato plant, and even other vegetables like zucchini. But in my opinion, if you get pots of up to 60 liters, it's much better. It is the ideal pot. Avoid growing tomatoes in a small pot. The bigger the pot, the more soil it contains. The more soil the pot contains, the more water is stored. A small pot causes a problem when it comes to growing tomatoes, as the plant will have hydration problems. When the tomato plant doesn't get enough water, the harvest will not be what you want it to be. Problems like apical rot and red spider mite can appear. A lack of water can give the leaves a withered appearance, and this is easily exploited by insects and fungi. Preferably use a minimum of 30-liter pots for tomatoes, as I mentioned previously. Before we proceed, quickly subscribe to this channel, ITTV. Hit the notification button so you will be the first to know when I upload your next video. Also, give this video a thumbs up and like. Do not abuse the amount of water or neglect the plant. Both excess and lack of water negatively affect tomato plants and pepper plants. Once you have the perfect pot for growing tomatoes or peppers, don't make the mistake of creating an overcrowded growing space. To avoid overpopulation of potted crops, plan a separation of about 80 centimeters between each plant. When tomato plants, peppers, and any other vegetables are too close together and overpopulation is created, it is the perfect environment for all kinds of insects to thrive in them, which will then eat up your precious crops. Here is the importance of choosing large enough pots when it comes to tomatoes and peppers, and also arranging them in a good space with careful separation to avoid this described mess. Yes, believe it or not, plants also need some social distancing. In the first growth phases, when the tomato or pepper plants have already reached about 20 centimeters in height, it is advisable to place a guide or support rod next to the plant to guide growth and help the plant to support its own weight. How about the amount of sunlight? My recommendation is that when you plant potted tomatoes and peppers, they can be in a place where they are exposed to sunlight for at least 6 hours. 12 hours as the ideal time. Pepper, like cucumber and tomato, or maybe even a little more, needs a good room temperature to prosper and produce a good harvest. In zones of temperate or cold climates, it is grown as an annual plant, although in warm places it can be grown throughout the year. If you have used the pots of the correct size, following all the recommendations, I am 100% sure that you will have a harvest bountiful, beautiful, and delicious tomatoes, peppers, and any other vegetable you propose. Both tomatoes and peppers can be harvested up to 70 days after transplanting. As you can see, growing tomatoes or peppers at home is not only possible, but also profitable. Well, folks, this is it for today. I hope you have learned something new today. Don't forget to subscribe to ITTV channel, and I will be here every day of the week to give you all the information you need to grow your vegetables. Hit the notification button so you will be the first to know when I upload your next video. Also give this video a thumbs up and like. Remember, you are the original of yourself. There is no duplicate of you anywhere in the world.